review them right there on the spot and say, you're a candidate. I give you a spot admit. Now all you have to do is actually apply and provide us with the documents. But, I can do those kind of things too. So happy to do those things. So.
Would anybody else like to introduce themselves? I know we've got a lot of our regional managers here, which is wonderful. But I also know that we're going to get started here in a moment. So
Sure.
no, no pressure. Well, I know we've got a pretty good group, Jacques, already, and I'm going to record the session. I'll share
Sure.
it to the entire invite list after, as well as create an informational flyer for our various channels. But if you want to go ahead and take us away, we'll get started.
Sure.
And that way we have more time for questions if there are any.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're going to get a short presentation here, but really, I'm hoping we just turn this into a conversation and get a lot of your direct questions answered. I try to cover a lot of things coming up here in just the next minute or two about Michigan Tech and stuff. So let's just jump right in and go to the next slide here,
Perfect.
which I think is a picture of me. That was me a little while ago. So my name is Jacques Smith. I am the Director of Graduate School Operations and Enrollment Services at Michigan Technological University. I have been in graduate admissions for just coming up on 20 years here. I have worked all over the world on recruiting students, done a lot of work in India, over in Thailand, Japan. Around the world, we're always looking for more opportunities to travel to meet quality students. We've had students on our campus, international students, I think, from about 1912. So we've been internationalized for quite some time. And I am actually a Michigan Tech graduate. I'm a mechanical engineer from Michigan Tech from a little while ago. But yes, I'm so very knowledgeable of Michigan Tech. So next one.
Mhm.
So today, I'm going to give you a little bit of intro on Michigan Tech, talk a little bit about our partnership, give you some brief overviews on academic programs, like kind of high-level application requirements or what we're looking about. There's going to be financial details, some money size, some like next steps, and then really like we're driving towards, opening us up so you can ask all kinds of questions. So let's go right into it. We had to give you the vision slide. And I'm actually going to read it. It is, I think, a powerful statement. Michigan Tech is a globally recognized technological university that educates students, advances knowledge, and innovates to improve the quality of life, to promote mutual respect and equity for all people within our state, the nation, and the global community. So that is a little bit about what we do. And there's a nice little shot of our campus there. That's kind of our central campus. And we are the Huskies. That is our mascot right there. Huskies are strong, powerful dogs that do well in the winter environment. And that's where we're located. We're located in a wintry area. So, which I'll talk about. But next slide.
Yeah. Does the Michigan Tech Husky have like a specific name? Like, is that
So, yeah,
it?
Blizzard is his name.
Okay. Blizzard. Okay.
It's lots of things to do with snow. But I did want to get a little shot of campus in here so you can kind of see. Very beautiful area. We're located right on the water here. We're located on the central part of the United States at the very top, up on what's called Lake Superior. So 20% of the fresh water in the entire world, surface water, surrounds us. So anything to do with water, we're there. Anything to do with anything outside and fun or snow, we're there. This is like our main campus corridor, but we have multiple areas around the state, research areas. So it is bigger than this. We have research forests and all kinds of facilities, but that's kind of a shot of Central Campus. Next. So fast facts, kind of a little bit about that. Another little nice shot at the entrance of our campus, which is just outside the door from me, right behind me. So we are a public research university. So we're a state of Michigan university. We're founded in 1885. So we're not new to education. We're fully accredited. All of our programs are fully accredited. And I traced it back. We actually had graduate students on our campus back in 1889 is the first one I can find. So graduate education isn't anything new. And like I said, I believe, by it was about 1910, 1915, we had our first international students on campus. We are a HSTEM focused university with a full business school. So HSTEM, health, science, technology, engineering, math, and business. So we have all of those areas. And one of the many keys to our success is we have always focused on STEM from the very beginning. We've always been a STEM university. Everything we do has a STEM spin to it. Technology is integrated into everything we do, including our business program. Our total enrollment, a little over 7,000 students, 1,400 of those are graduate students. Of the graduate students, 50% of our graduate students are international from over 50 different countries. So we have people from all over the world here studying on our campus. We are home to 50 plus graduate certificates, 40 plus master's programs, and 30 plus PhD programs. We're also designated, for those of you who might know this one, we are an R1 research institution. So this is the highest classification you can get for research. So we're a Carnegie R1 university. So that's a badge of pride for us. A little bit of general about us. So next slide. So some of our partnership objectives, you can just click on these. We want to,
Sorry.
oh,
I didn't know if there was one more. Sorry.
oh, there we go. We're fine. We're here to really develop a partnership, and we have programs, we have resources for students, but we're looking for you because you have networks to help identify top performing students that would be a good fit in our master's program. So this is a two-way partnership that we really want to develop here. Our other partnership objective, and I know Rachel was just talking a little bit about this, is we're going to get started here today, but we want to get you information. So when you're talking with students, you have a good feel for Michigan Tech and the right kind of students and the benefits that we can provide to our students. So provide counselors with up-to-date information. And then I really want to work as a team, and we're already doing this, with the GB group, but we want to expand this to other parts of the world. This is a team sport. We're all working together to try to ultimately get these students identified. We can help them through the application process and work to get them all, we'll help them with getting their I-20 and their, giving them visa advice and getting them all the way to campus. And then we do want to, we are providing a financial incentive to students that I'll talk about in a little bit too. So to come to our program. So there's something else that'll help you hopefully market our programs. So our academic programs, and you can just click on these again. 46 master's programs. So we're thinking you're going to ideally help us find master's students. And I do have at the bottom a complete listing of all of our programs, but we do have a College of Business, a College of Computing, a College of Engineering, College of Forest Resources and Environmental Science, and a College of Science and Art. So lots of different options. I'd say Michigan Tech's kind of rare in the fact that we have a College of Computing, that it's risen to that level on our campus. Many campuses on the United States, computing is part of another college or another part of it, but it's risen to a level in our campus where it can be its own college, and it's that much importance on our campus, I guess I would say. Another great thing, I'm not saying this is 100%, but it's way up in the 90%. Most of our programs receive the STEM designation for OPT extension. So, our students can go on and, they start here, and then after 2 successful semesters, they can do CPT, or they can go off and get internships. While they're on campus, they can work for up to 20 hours per week. We have up to 2,000 student jobs on campus. So then you do your CPT, and then when you graduate, the STEM extension allows you to work up in the United States for up to 3 years after. And this is a very powerful tool for our incoming master's students. That's how a lot of the students are actually funding themselves or paying themselves back through, educational loans, or paying their parents or their own savings and stuff back as through CPT and OPT. So all of our master's programs are 30 credit hours long. A typical graduate class is 3 credit hours. So we're talking like 10 courses beyond their bachelor's degree to get a master's degree. So we're talking about that master's programs can complete it in 3 to 4 semesters, or 1.5 to 2 academic years. So full time for a graduate student on our campus is 9 credits. So, and that doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but this is a rigorous place. Lots of good things happen here, but you have to work hard and be engaged to be successful. So, a lot of students go 1 semester, 9 credits, 2 semesters, 9 credits. Now they're into the world of CPT. They go off and make some money. They come back, and if they take 1 extra course that last semester, they can graduate in 3 academic semesters. So that doesn't necessarily save you money on tuition, but it does save you money on living expenses, and also put you into the job market 1 semester sooner. So a lot of students are doing that. But complete listing, we got a link there for you, and we can provide more links. We'll provide you lots of links that will be very helpful. But a little bit about our academic programs there.
Yep, and I shared this link, this degree programs listing in the chat if anybody wants to pull it. But just like Jacques said, I'll send it out after the session as well.
Yeah, I know lots of pictures of husky dogs there, but right behind that is our new HSTEM building. So that is a new health STEM related building for research on our campus. So application requirements. One of the key things is, to be a graduate student at our university, you have to have earned a bachelor's degree from an accredited university. Typically, we look at 4-year degrees for bachelor's, but we do look at 3-year degrees too. That is not uncommon. So we're happy to look at both 3- and 4-year degrees. I know that's important to many of you. We're going to need, for people to apply, we're going to need their transcripts. And we don't need official ones right from the start. Really, for the review process, we can work with unofficial transcripts. Once you're accepted and really you've decided to come, later when you arrive at campus, we will need a proof of degree and official transcripts. So we need to review a transcript. We do need 6 semesters of credits. So if you're like in a 4-year degree and unless you're starting your senior year, your 4th year, we can still review and make an admission decision without seeing what your complete degree is going to be. If for a 3-year degree, we do need to see the complete degree. So transcripts, unofficial, don't worry about that. 2 to 3 letters of recommendation. We have a whole system, where students identify their letters or the recommenders. We send them emails, they fill out a form, they can upload their letters. It's all automated. But we're really looking for academic letters of recommendation. We realize if some people have been on a few years, that becomes difficult because maybe you didn't stay in touch with your faculty members. So professional letters of recommendation are fine. Someone, your supervisor, team leader, someone who's worked with you on projects, something along those lines. We are not looking for friends and family who all love you and we know they love you and to say nice things about you. So typically it's academic or professional ones is what we're looking for. And the recommenders, we throw this out there, is the recommenders need to upload and do all this. Students do not upload their own letters. We can tell. So we want these things coming directly from the recommenders. Then there's going to be a couple of student statements. Classically, you probably know about statement of purpose. That's kind of like why Michigan Tech, why the program, what you hope to achieve, and where you hope to take the degree. A personal statement, that's more a little bit about you. And that's where you could maybe, if you have any perceived gaps in your application, if you want to identify them there and how you overcome them, maybe like a low GPA, maybe you started out kind of was tough and college was new to you and you weren't used to it. And then, the GPA math works against you. If you have a rough start, sometimes it's hard to get all the way across the finish line with a high GPA. So like you can describe those kind of things and these kind of things. They are character limited. So like 3,000 characters for a statement of purpose, 2,000 for a personal statement. If you put 3,001 characters in there, it won't take it. So use your character counting before you make those done. Resumes are powerful tools for us too. If students want, that's a great place for them to put extra things they've done. If they've done like Coursera courses or other things, they have work experience, if they have publications, if they've worked on projects in their undergraduate programs, you can put a lot of different things in here. And it's kind of a nice catch-all for us to see a broader picture of students and the achievements they're doing both in their university and outside of the university. So GRE, most of our programs do not require the exam. The only two that do right now are for master's level are computer science and cybersecurity, and we're working on them to drop that. So we do have English language proficiency requirements. We do have a link out there. There are some countries that may have an exemption, but if your country doesn't have an exemption, we do take a variety of TOEFL, IELTS, Peterson exams, but you have to meet our minimum scores. So,
Chuck, can you speak to, are there any kind of GPA requirements or
sure.
class rank requirements that our manager should know about?
Sure. So I get asked this question frequently, and the broad way to answer this question is we're looking for students who are probably in about the top third of their graduating class. They have like a B average. The US, we're on a 4-point scale, so it'd be like a 3.0 and above. In Africa, you'd be like a second class upper division. India, you're probably like a 7 out of 10 kind of area. Every country and then within every country, universities do things differently in how they grade. So when students are putting in their transcripts, we also ask them for a grading scale. I mean, we see lots of different transcripts, and I'd say we're pretty savvy at it too. But we do need something that ultimately says you have a bachelor's degree. That's like the key thing for us. And once in a while, it doesn't happen very often, like we may ask for a credential evaluation. If it's something we've never seen, or it's not obvious on there, something saying you have a bachelor's degree in something. So that is not our default. Like I would say well over 95% of our applications just flow through and we're familiar enough with things that we can evaluate it and make decisions. But once in a while, we may ask a student to go to the next level, which would be like WES or ECE, or there's a variety of different companies that can help with those kind of translations. That's not
Yeah.
the
No, that's helpful though. And
yeah.
then this will be specifically for our managers in India, but are there any limitations around backlogs that we should be keeping in mind?
Oh, that's a good one. So one of the things for our advisors in India too. So one of the unique things there is we typically ask for mark sheets from India. So we want the overall combined transcript, but then the mark sheets also. So the backlog question, I know you want like hard numbers and stuff, but that's just not how the world works. Maybe 4 in there, somewhere in that region. But I'm also going to look at like what were the backlogs in,
Mhm.
and then how relevant is that to the degree? Because I'll see like, data science people coming through and like, I don't know, they tend to not do well in chemistry. And like that is not chemistry is important in the scope of the world, but to be a successful data scientist,
Maybe
I
not.
don't care, but it's like, okay, you didn't do well in chemistry. That's okay. I can do that. So we're going to really kind of look at everything together. And, it's like, when were the backlogs? Were they early in the career? Were they in key courses? I would say after 4, now we're into kind of a different area of like scrutiny of things. But I don't know if I really answered your question there
No,
direct.
I definitely appreciate that, and this has always been true. Michigan Tech does do a really holistic review of a student's application, which is great because it's just like you said, there's no definitive like everyone fits into this mold and therefore they will be successful or not. So it's a very fair consideration, but it's, especially knowing that we have a really large population of our students coming from India, it's a really
Yep.
common thing for students to ask, for
Yep.
counselors to be looking at, and for universities certainly to have some consideration too. So that's
Sure.
helpful. Mhm.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Um,
Any other ones on this one, or? And we'll have plenty of time to answer questions after too.
oh, sorry. There's a
Oh, there we go. We had the English language scores. TOEFL 79, IBT 6.5 for IELTS. Those are our minimum scores. Like for TOEFL, the combined super score will accept 79. We don't do anything with the bands or the individual areas. You just have to meet the overall minimum. But if you are a 78 TOEFL, you will not move forward in the process. So this is what we're reporting out to our federal government and our I-17 of this is the standard we're holding. So this is the thing I don't have any flexibility on this. Other things, can I work with things, where your grade point's a little bit higher, a little bit low, whatever. I can work with a lot of different things, but English language is not one of them. All right, this is just kind of the 1, 2, 3. For students, they create and activate account. They then once they get that, they do for our international students, they do have to pay a $10 fee. This is probably the lowest fee you're going to see anywhere. It's been put in place. We had a huge application surge when it was 100% free, and $10 seems to have kind of like put a small commitment for people to say yes, we're really interested in Michigan Tech. So I don't think it's a financial barrier for most students. But they would then get application to their portal, and then all those things I just described, all those things, they're going to have like a set of checklist items. And as they upload the resume, and then we look at it and review it, and then they'll get a check mark, and they'll keep getting check marks. When they have check marks by all the different things, that's when it goes off for review and decision. A lot of the master's decisions are being made within the graduate school where I'm at. A lot of them are made by me. We try to make these as quick as we can. Some are made by other academic departments. They may take a little bit more time, but I really try to turn, especially master's decisions, around quickly. So it is more of a rolling admission, type scenario. I'm always saying for students to apply sooner than later, because what the real thing is I want to see that you're interested, get you through the process, get you a decision. Then it's all about working on your I-20 to get that I-20, because I'm trying to maximize the amount of time that students have to go and get a visa appointment. That is like the bottleneck for all of us, I think, is getting people through that visa appointment. And we can issue I-20s up to 1 year ahead. So, we can, and we're doing it too. We're having students who are getting accepted very early in the cycle and providing their financial information to go and get that I-20 and go, looking for that visa interview. So we're trying to do that. So then it's 1, 2, 3. 3 is upload all your documents, then it goes off for decision. Next slide. The money slide, the financial details of everything. So things to think about when you're thinking about Michigan Tech or promoting Michigan Tech. Are we the cheapest school out there? No, we are not. Are we the most expensive? No. We are a STEM school. Um, and one of the things that many of you may be familiar with is U.S. universities will have a different tuition rate for people who are international or outside of their state. So it's like students from Michigan are here and like international students are up here. We don't do that. Everybody's paying whether you're from India, from Taiwan, or from Michigan, right here, you're paying the same rate per credit hour for your program. There's no difference there. So that is actually a form of financial aid because we see some people inflating their prices and then giving you tuition and it's still not the same price as Michigan Tech. So something I think the best things to use, if you're an engineering and computing program, it's $1,516 per credit hour. Multiply that by 30, and that's the cost of your tuition. There's going to be some fees and some things, and then you have living expenses. But living expenses in the US, we are on the low end. The areas that we're in are less expensive to live on. The non-engineering programs are $1,334 per credit hours. Multiply that by 30. We do have a cost of education calculator, but it's going to be 30 times these two numbers. But then it has information built like if you lived on our campus and you ate all of our food on campus, that's how we have to calculate that number. But ultimately, that's not how graduate students do that. Graduate students, most of them live off campus and live with their friends and cook their own food and are, very cost conscious. So you can, come in with numbers less than this cost of education calculator. But this gives you a good idea of about where we're at. And this links back to that conversation of our CPT and OPT options and our career fairs. We have huge career fairs, up to like 400 companies will come to our campus seeking students. So that's where, students are paying their money in upfront, they're doing things, but then they're looking for these opportunities to make money back. So, but then the GB Fellowship. So we are offering first-time students coming in their first semester. We're basically giving them 3 credit hours or 1 free class is basically what we're doing in their first bill. And if you multiply 3 credits by those 2 numbers up above it, you'll see it's like a $4,000 to $4,500 benefit right off the bat. So if you're coming in with GB, and only GB students are getting the GB fellowship off, obviously. And then through our agreement, for every student that GB identifies, and we have a process that we flag in our account that work with Rachel on all of the people coming in through GB, so they're identified in our account. So if the student arrives and they have to make it through the period where they can't get money back from paying their bill, they have to pay their bill, and then when they get through that's a couple weeks into the semester, then GB gets $2,500 for each student coming back. So I think we're kind of in line with a lot of other universities on that, and we are offering a $4,000 to $4,500 incentive. A free class basically is a nice way to say that for our students. So one of the 10 classes they're going to take is going to be free right in that first semester. So some financial information there. So next slide. So next steps really is getting you the information you need. Hopefully this is helpful here today. And then I know we're going to be developing more materials for you. And we actually have a special brochure just for India that we can give you. And I'm sure if we worked on, if there's other areas, you mentioned Malaysia, Taiwan, we're happy we could probably develop another piece like that and look into print pieces for you. But then I just wanted to throw out too, as this progresses, if there are regions or areas, if they want to do, if they have groups of students, they want to do an information session, I'm all for it. I'm happy to, come and talk to students and answer their questions and talk to them about Michigan Tech and what it's really like to be here and their experience. And I think it's a warm and welcoming community. We're rated one of the safest campuses in the United States. I know all students like that and the parents love that. I can't say nothing ever happens here, but we're a safe place. Student focused. I'd say, we're not a huge university, but we're very rich in resources, rich enough to be an R1 classification. So,
No.
I think we have one more last
दादा
little.
ढोका खोल्दिनु नि मेरो बुढालाई ढोका खोल्दिनु
होइन म आफै खोल्छु भन्नु त
Oh,
अनि
Sandhya, I think you're off mute.
खुलेन अब झन् उल्टो भयो हँ? कहाँ खुल्छ त्यहाँ भाँच्यो क्या यो यसरी गरेर आफसेल सरी छान्नु पर्यो हेर्नु
I think we have one last slide with some dates, I think. So our spring semester 2026, that application is open. We can start guiding students to that right now. That starts in January 5th. Our fall 26, we're pretty much beyond fall 25 now for anybody new. Fall 26 is starts in next August. That application will open up in September, typically the third week of September. That will be available. So that'll be coming up in not too long. We'll be starting, right after we land this class, we start looking for the next class, basically. So with that, I think we just have questions and then have another pretty picture of campus you can look at too.
Well, thank you so much for all that, Jacques. I know it was really informative. Just to share with this group, Leap GB is the exclusive agent for Michigan Tech. So that's also just kind of a nice little detail to share there. But any questions from the group? Anything that Jacques didn't cover that you're interested in knowing more about?
You could unmute or put them in chat or whatever you like to do. Oh, come on, you have to have some questions. So.
Hi Rachel. Hello.
Hi, Sandhya.
I am so sorry. I joined so last minute and I missed almost all the information. There's no question because I would have a lot of question. I have not joined. But would you please share me the presentation so I know? And if there's any confusion, I'll reach out to you. I'm so sorry for being late. Please
No.
excuse me for that.
No. It's perfectly fine. I'll be happy to share the presentation and the recording. So no worries there.
Yeah, and Rachel, I'm, like if we want to do another one of these kind of sessions, if you have a different group or if there's some people who couldn't make it today or something, I'm happy to do this again with other groups of advisors.
Yeah.
I'm really looking, I just want this to be a collaborative arrangement here,
Yeah.
We make it as easy as I can on you to have information and find good students, and that just benefits Michigan Tech. So. But you're right. We did not jump in. We have not jumped into the world of agents. Really, it's been a long time, but we started this relationship with Leap and GB, and we're sticking with this. We're happy with what we're seeing. There's dedicated people here that are knowledgeable, and we're looking to just leverage this relationship right now and make it the best we can for all of us.
Yeah. And I can't stress that enough. Like, Jacques is absolutely wonderful to work with. And I know he talked about how he makes a lot of decisions on applications and he tries to be very quick with them. That is true. I feel like most of the time when we send applications over to Jacques' desk, so to speak, students are receiving a decision within a couple of days to like 2 weeks at most. So it is really, really quick, which is just a wonderful kind of feedback loop for the counselors and the students. So the feeling is mutual, Jacques. I love working with Michigan Tech.
And we got some questions in the chat.
Yes.
So, is there a payment plan? Yes, there is. So what happens is like this upcoming cycle, like if somebody's admitted right now, they can, even though they're in another country or wherever they're at, they can register for courses, even if they don't have a visa yet. So they register for courses, and then we're like pushing you, get your visa, work on that. Then in like July for this fall, bills will come out and they'll get a bill and they don't have a visa yet. Don't pay your bill. We'll tell them that. We have sessions in the summer. So students they have a bill that's all generated, but then when they start getting closer, if they get that visa and they want to work out a payment plan, we have like, I think it's 3 and 4 payment plans. The more extended payment plans, you have to commit to it earlier. That's all with our cashier's office. There's no interest on it. I think there's like maybe a $50 charge to set up a payment plan, and then you have to pay that semester off within the semester, and they won't let you register for the next semester till you have the previous semester paid off. So you can never move forward. But there are payment plans to split it up because many students are maybe coming in on educational loans, and then some people want to pay it all off right away. Some people want to manage their cash flow differently, and they can do that through payment plans. So those are available through our cashier's office, but it happens closer to the start of each semester. You can do this. And I see is TOEFL Home Edition accepted. So TOEFL, if it's what I think it is, if it's a regular one where you take it at home and they have cameras watching you, yes, we can do that. But it has to be basically the academic TOEFL. There's other kind of TOEFLs. There's like a TOEFL if you're basically if it's like a work-related, career-related one, but we need the academic TOEFL, and the minimum score for TOEFL is a 79, and Duolingo is not accepted. I hate to say that, but I know a lot of people want to take the Duolingo because it's cheap and quick. So official score reporting, is that required? So yes, we do need official scores. So if you take a TOEFL exam, we're all connected, or IELTS, like those scores come to us electronically if the student has designated Michigan Tech as a, that's where they want their scores to go. If you didn't do that, you took the exam and you have a copy of, your score report, you can upload that and we can work towards a decision. But if you are admitted and decide to come, we need the official scores. So that's kind of the key there. And so for official scores for TOEFL, you have to do it, they can't be older than 2 years, I believe it is, that they expire. So we do need to be able to verify scores on our end for that.
Mm-hmm. And Jacques, I think we missed one question from
Sorry.
Is open school or distance education accepted? And then I know you had said earlier that you all do accept 3-year degrees, but is there anything that we should be aware of when it comes to 3-year degrees? Do they need to have a certain NAC rating? Do they need to have a certain GPA? Anything that we need to think about there?
Our experience with 3-year degrees, it would still be all the same. You'd need to be the top third. You would need to, be a B or better. You would need to have strong grades in the discipline that you're applying for, all those kind of things. Really, the 3-year degree, in a lot of situations, it's very focused. It's like you're taking all the key things for that degree, and then especially like in the US, the 4-year degree, then you're taking extra stuff. So 3-year degrees work fine for us. They would be looked at the same way. So I haven't had big issues. I've had many successful students with 3-year degrees. So that's maybe less of a concern, but it's going to vary by program. Different programs maybe view things differently. But like I said, a lot of the master's decisions are being made in the graduate school, my group, and there's not a big thought difference on 3-year degrees, really. And we talked, I think, about the official score reporting. Yes, we're going to need those at a later point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like I know there's some information in here around just AI readers, but the next question was, what type of financial documents, if any, are going to be required at time of application?
At time of application, really nothing at that point in time. What it is that after you've gotten through the process, completed an application, goes off for decision, once you're admitted, that portal I was talking about with checklist items, now you get new checklist items, and you would have a thing called a certificate of finance. And that's where we would give you guidance on the amount and the types of documents you would need to provide us to show that you can basically be issued an I-20. The interesting thing about those certificate of finance is that is not the cost of the program. That like number doesn't really tie to a lot of different things. It's closest to, it's probably somewhere in the area of what you might need to complete one academic year. Because that's what our federal government, they give us guidelines on how we calculate that number. And that's saying you have enough money to come and get going in this program, basically, is what that is. So yes, we do that, but that's later in the process after you get through admissions and stuff. So, but something to be students and everybody to be thinking about, like if you think you're a strong candidate, as you're going through the process, at some point to get that I-20, to go get that visa interview, you're going to have to show, certificate of finance, proof of funding for our programs. And that's no different than any other university in the US.
Perfect. And then if I'm remembering correctly, there is no I-20 deposit fee, but please confirm one way or the other.
So when you get to that point, the only really deposit we have, so you have that $10 fee at the very beginning, just to that threshold. That's about as little as we get. So we do have a $100 fee at the point of the I-20.
Okay.
And in the range of schools, again, when you're looking around, that's probably not a very big one, but it was a big step for us. So that was actually a fee that students typically paid in a one-time fee at the start of their first semester. And we just moved it back. We didn't create like a new fee. We just moved it earlier in the process, and it is kind of like a deposit. So if you pay that and get your do everything to get your I-20, that money is not refundable. So if you don't get a visa, you don't get that back. But if you don't get a visa and you are reapplying or you go back for another visa interview, you don't have to pay that $100 fee again. You would pay it once.
Yeah, and I know that certainly with some updates to the visa process and needing to have all of your documents match and things like that, if students need to request a new I-20 as they kind of navigate through that process, just to confirm, you're saying they don't need to pay that $100 fee ever again.
Correct. Right.
Perfect.
So there's a question. We talked about the tuition payment plans. Yes, we have those. If you just were on our website, mtu.edu, and put in tuition payment plan, it'll outline them all for you. It's right there. So offer an I-20 turnaround time. Another good question. So at the master's level here, we're looking to turn around once something's complete, we're trying to get it turned around as fast as we can. And Rachel knows us well enough and meets us on much of a regular basis. If there was something that wasn't getting turned around, maybe it wasn't in my group or something, she would probably call that out to me in a meeting, and then I would take actions and make sure I can get a decision. So the student gets their decision. Then the timing part is kind of back on them, because now they need to, upload a copy of their passport. They need to do their certificate of finance. They need to upload their financials. So they get their they do everything to get an I-20. What's basically happening for us, like in peak season, and we're kind of in our peak season right now, is every Tuesday we are doing I-20s. We take and we batch everything we receive that week. So like new I-20s are pretty much coming to the student by Wednesday of every week. If it's the very beginning of the cycle, maybe we take a little bit longer. But it's kind of a weekly thing. And my I-20 person won't be happy that I said that, but if we ran into something that was an emergency and we really had to get something going, like we could turn it around even quicker. I could ask them to do it, but we do a batching system and it's once a week. And so we're doing I-20s, once again, I think pretty quickly compared to a lot of universities.
Yeah. And what's also really nice is that the I-20s are visible to students within their portals.
Yep.
So once it is issued by the university, it's a very kind of quick document for the students and the counselors to find. And Divya, just to go back to your offer turnaround time, I think in kind of the most extreme cases, I've seen a completed application taking maybe 2 weeks. And that's really more so when that decision can't be made by Jacques directly, and it's got to go out to another department for review and decision. But we see that students are getting decisions very quickly, which is great.
Which benefits us all. I mean,
Yeah.
because students are anxious. We don't want, because they're going to be emailing you, saying, where's my offer? And then they're going to be emailing us. Then so it's like in everybody's best interest to get that decision move forward and then the information to the student. But Rachel is right. Everything is in the portal for the student. That's where they go for all information is there. But we do have a transfer applications accepted. So I'm see if I answer this question correctly for the transfers. So we do have people who are maybe in another program in the United States or maybe in another program in another country. They haven't completed it, but they want to come to Michigan Tech. Can we do that? Yes, we can. You apply, be the same standard process. If you have transcripts for the program you're currently in, then you want to include those transcripts in there. You might want to mention it too in like your personal statement too of why you're maybe in the middle of a master's and transferring. So then if you are in the United States, then you already have I-20 and a visa. So like we work with the other university to do a transfer to get here. That happens. The thing to think about in this is our transfer credit policy is you can transfer up to 1/3 of the non-research credits. So what does that really mean? For a master's student, that's 10 credits. You could potentially transfer 10 credits from another institution that have not been counted towards a degree to Michigan Tech at the approval of the program. So like you're transferring in from, a mechanical engineering program somewhere else to ours. So like you could potentially bring 10 across, but you're going to have to work with a graduate director to say, will they sign off on these credits? They're going to have to be a B or better because our graduate students have to have a B or better on all of their courses to be able to transfer them. They're going to have to be what we would call like a 4,000 or like a senior level course to bring these things across. So there would be an evaluation. So that brings up a good point. So I'm on the admission side of this whole thing, but there are graduate directors. Every program has a graduate director who's typically a faculty member and a graduate assistant. They're going to be the people when the students are getting further into it about the academic side. So what courses should I take? Will this count towards my degree? All those kind of things. Those are going to be the graduate director questions. I can field some of them, but like we would be then connecting to graduate directors. So we can transfer people in it, if that's what the essence of your question was. I'm not sure.
And I know that just one piece within that, it cannot be from a previously completed graduate degree. So you cannot receive credit if you've already completed that degree somewhere else and want to do a graduate degree with MTU, or excuse me, just Michigan Tech. You're going to need to start fresh. It's really if you're transferring from an in-progress degree to a degree.
Correct. So got another one. Any credential evaluations required? Typically not. These are like these are rare. We need to see somewhere on this transcript that it says you have a bachelor's degree, and that has to do with our accreditation, saying that people coming into our graduate programs have bachelor's degrees. So that's what we're looking for. Can't say it doesn't happen. It's uncommon. Maybe if there was a new country that we couldn't figure out their degree, how their degrees work, we may ask. Sometimes there are degrees. Some of them that get trickier is you get a PharmD, like you get a doctorate, but you never get a bachelor's. Like I have to see that we have to see somewhere get some kind of equivalency. There are some programs like that, but I would say overall it's rare. So I would not guide a student to go get a transcript evaluation right off the bat. If they have one, if they went out, some people just go out and do it when they're applying to graduate schools. If they want to include it, that is great, and they can include it with their transcripts. But I try not to have people pay for anything until they have to. So I guess would be my answer for that. Okay.
Deferment process. So if a student is admitted, let's say for fall of 25, but
Sure.
maybe their visa gets denied
Yep.
or something comes up, they can't start and they want
Yes.
to start later.
So we push the students and we meet with us like all this summer. We're going to be meeting with on Friday mornings. We start at 6 a.m. here, my colleague Ashley and I, and we usually do like 4 meetings every Friday morning with different groups of incoming students who have I-20s, who are on their way here, and we talk about all these things there to the students. It's similar to this. It's just us talking and having questions answered. And what the deferral process will be is we're going to give a date, like you can, and it's right at the almost the start of the semester. If you can't have a visa by like probably the week before the semester starts, then you will ask you can defer. But what we just don't want people to do is just say like right now, like if somebody wants, well, I don't know if I get a visa interview, I'm on a defer. Like we're going to push it and say, we're not going to do it. You need to keep trying. Because we see a lot of success on people who have been denied, have been, they're, we have students from Africa who get like visa appointments like 12 months later or something like that, of pushing to get that visa appointment earlier. So we want them to keep pushing to get through the process. If they get to a point where they can't, we will allow them to defer. We allow students to defer for one academic year, one semester at a time. So if you were admitted into this fall and you needed to defer, you could defer to spring. And if that didn't work out, you could defer to the next fall. But then after that, you would need to reapply. But each time you do that deferral, we need updated certificate of finance documents because now the certificate of the bank accounts or whatever you're using are kind of too old. So they would need to reprove their financial capability of coming, then we would process the deferral. But this is, as you all know, this is the students who get through this process are the students who are tenacity. It doesn't just kind of happen for you very often. It's like you have to keep pushing, you have to keep managing this process of getting a visa. Because it's never been easy, and I don't think it's getting easier. I'm not thinking so. But yes, so we do defer students, but we do have a process. PTEs are accepted, and 53 is the minimum score. So Divya is our question asker now. See it in here. All right. Good question, Divya.
Any others?
So
Okay. Well, I
And
think we will wrap it there. Let me see. Is there, oh, we have the question slide.
one
Oh,
more slide. We got another beautiful picture of campus in the fall. So yeah, our trees turn beautiful colors, and that's kind of another shot of our campus area and stuff. So, and that thing, what's right in front of you, the thing you probably don't realize right here, that is our ski hill. We get a lot of snow up here. This is a wintry place. It's a very beautiful place, and that's actually a ski hill in a few months after that where we do get snow. So
last call for questions.
okay, did you mention minimum GPA for scholarships? Can you go through again? So if you're admitted in and it's one of your students through GB, you will automatically, the students will get that one free course, which is a range in value between about 4,000 US dollars to 4,500 US dollars. So it's not really if you're admitted as a GB student, that's what we're doing right now. So it's more of whether you get admitted or not for the GPA side of things.
Mhm.
And then remember, it's work on campus for up to 20 hours a week, 2 successful semesters, get out there, do CPT in the US, come back, finish your program, go off and do OPT, most likely with the STEM extension for up to 3 years. That's how students are paying themselves back for this whole thing.
Mhm. Mhm. Any other questions?
And agent tagging process, any consent form required to tag the applications under the GB. So the way the process, and Rachel might talk, Rachel, we have a combined Google Sheet that we look at, and Rachel is, however you're getting the information, Rachel, she is giving me a list of students who are coming in through GB. And then I have like a GB tag, and I tag them in our system so that, you know, I can run reports and I can figure out who's a GB. But that's kind of more of an internal process that ultimately, at least from my perspective, goes to Rachel, and she's identifying these students to me. But how they get to Rachel, I don't know.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So I currently meet with Jacques just about every 2 weeks. And before I meet with him, I go into our speed up system to what I call a bottoms up. And so I look to find every student that is currently in the application funnel for Michigan Tech, and I make sure that they're on this shared spreadsheet that I have with Jacques. And then he takes that spreadsheet and he adds the necessary kind of tagging on their side. If you ever have question or concern that a student is not tagged appropriately to Michigan Tech, you can send me an email, and I'll double check it and make sure that they get squared away. Similarly, if you know there's a student that was maybe working with a different agent or that sort of thing, you can let me know, and I'll take care of it with Jacques.
And the best part about the relationship, it's just GB. So like, I'm not worrying about other agents. I'm not
Yeah.
tagging anybody else. It's just GB.
For sure. Any other questions?
Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time. I know it's late for you, kind of early for us, but that's fine. We're happy to work with you anytime. Look forward to more meetings and collaborating and finding good students for Michigan Tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for the questions. I will follow up with a copy of the presentation for everyone to take a further look at. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll coordinate with Jacques whether we need additional sessions, materials, information, that sort of thing. But similar to what Jacques said, just really appreciative that you were all able to give us a bit of your time.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yep. Have a great evening. For our
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for our managers in Latin America, have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll talk soon, everyone.
Take care. Rachel, do you want me to stay or?
No, I think we're good. I'll send you
Okay.
a follow-up, and I think we're supposed to meet next week, so we'll go from there. I just am going to get the meeting ended.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thanks, y'all.